So I am Joan Curtis with MVP Insurance, and we are an independent agency in Oklahoma City. We build business based on referrals. So if you are a business owner or you're somebody who has to kill what you eat, that is what we do. We actually have to have new business every month for our doors to stay open. And so if you're like me, then this is going to be really helpful to you. How this all got developed is I was wondering why men make more money than women. Have you guys ever thought of that? Has that ever been something you thought of? Well, when I really started reaching into it, I am a believer, and so I will talk about Jesus through my presentation. It's okay if you're not. His skill sets still apply to you in business, even if you don't think he's real. That's fine. But I looked into what he did, and when I asked God, okay, how is it this is happening? He said 12, 9, and 3, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But men make money because they were on the golf course, is what I was seeing. Men would go, they'd have 5 or 6 different industries with one person who has a shared client. They all have a shared client base, and this one person would be that target market. And on Friday morning, they would go and they would golf. And they would create relationships. How many of you need healthy relationships to build your business? Right? Heck yeah. And isn't it better if you have those referrals coming to you and they are people who are vetted, people who are a target for you, and actually you're going to be able to say yes. They're the thought leaders with what they do, and then when you go and do your presentation, they are actually coming to you with a yes because they are the perfect person for you. Well, when we looked at this, we are very much service-centric in my agency. So it's integrity first, service before self, excellent in work is what we do. That's how we like to do business, and those are the people we like to do business with. So people who are like-minded like us, who serve great people and serve with a servant's heart. So, and I know some of you here today, and I'm excited that you guys came to support. So if you cannot do great things, do small things in a great way. Speak louder for online. Okay, I'm gonna yell. Is that good? Enrique, does that work? Okay, make sure I stay yelling, because that's gonna be a thing. Okay, if you cannot do great things, do small things in a great way. That's Napoleon Hill. So why do we network, guys? Can anybody tell me why we network? And I need help from my studio audience, please.
Build relationships.
Build relationships. Probably number one answer I get, but it's wrong. Why do you network?
Referrals.
Referrals? Closer.
To help connect to the entire network.
Those are great answers. Still wrong. So
For
if
resources, we have some
for resources, that's a great answer too. How many of you need to pay your bills? Anyone? Anyone? So the blank on your handout is money. Why do we network? For money. We do it to make money. Someone has to pay the bills. I go to work and my partner is our COO. His name is Brent Brown. He keeps the lights on. It's magic. I walk in, I turn the lights on, and they go on. It's a beautiful thing. And the reason that happens is because somebody sold something. So you're in business to make money. And that's just real. How do you make money? By serving people, by adding value. So the blank is serving people. By adding value to someone else. If you can help someone solve a problem, if you can help add value to them, then they are probably paying you for a service, or they're going to know people who need your service. So people are currency. So you've got to think of money, think of people as currency. And I don't mean that to be rude, I mean that to be real. Because if you're not in the right relationships with the right people who can say yes to you, then you're just a volunteer. And how many of you volunteer your time in a lot of different spaces and don't make any money? That's a real thing. Yes? There was a gentleman, and I'm going to say his name, but he was the volunteer of the year at one of the local chambers and quit the next day. He quit the chamber the next day. And when it was asked of him, well, why'd you quit? He said, I realized that I'd given all this time to the chamber instead of building my business, and I didn't make any money that year. That's real. That is a real thing. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't serve in your chambers. By all means, they need our help. The BBB, we love supporting the BBB. If you are not a member of the BBB, you need to really look into coming and being an affiliated business here, we partner with them because it's credibility for our agency. When somebody goes to look online, they're like, hey, oh, they're BBB accredited. That's just that little extra punch outside of the reviews you get on Google that says you are a certified awesome business, and you need to talk to Casey Hunter about that. So, the most successful people have partnerships and dedicated people to their business who are sold out on you. That is just real. So there's something called ambassadors and cheerleaders, and then we have apostles. So we go back to scripture, 12:9-3. Let me tell you what that means. So I'm gonna get out my fancy pen here. 12 apostles, 9 industries, 3 inner circle. Okay, so when you're doing business with people, you want to do business with people, not do people. Do business with people who you can do life with. So Jesus had 12 apostles from 9 industries, 3 inner circle, global brand. And he never went up to somebody and said, hey, Leanne, I am Jesus' Savior, and I can save you money on your fire insurance. He never did. He never handed out a business card. But he served his target market all day because he partnered with people who were apostles. Now, a cheerleader is somebody who's like, yay, Taylor's here from Wholesome Text. Yay, we love her. And then there's ambassadors who, when you're in the room with them, you are their number one person because they love being able to have you talk to people and to be able to be in the know. I want to be known and I want to know people, right? Right. And then there's apostles. So apostles are people who live and die by your brand. Okay, so these are people who you have a relationship with that are so sold on you that they may have to see other people who do what you do, but you're at the top of their list. I have a person who I like to call an apostle. He's a lender. His name is Joan. He went to a builder, and the builder said, I want to sign an exclusive deal with you. And he said, awesome, on one condition. You have to meet Joan Curtis. And the guy's like, why? He said, she's my non-negotiable. I was like, dang, I wouldn't have gotten in that room had John not brought me to their attention. And that's a whole set of clients that are perfect for my agency. Brand new homes are great for insurance. You get really great rates on brand new homes. And it's hard to get those relationships with builders. So if you have somebody who's in a relationship with them who's already your apostle, sweet, it makes things a lot easier. So, be the answer to someone else's problems. You need partners to create a referral network. So we talked about the 12-9-3. Who are your partners? I want you to take a second, look in your phone, and who is it that comes top to mind whenever you think of who it is who's referred you out. And you're going to want to sit down and really look at who are they, who do they serve, why are they sold on you? Why me? Why MVP Insurance? Because we serve people, because we have a like heart. Okay, Land Roofing is a BBB accredited BBB accredited business. I can't say it as fast as you. And when you text it to me, you talk text, it's like BBB. It sounds like boo. It's weird when it comes across on texting. So I think that's funny. But the BBB, Better Business Bureau, accredited business, Land Roofing, Land Enterprises Roofing is one of our number ones. We have other roofers, but we do life with Kirsten Land. We show up to her events. We show up and support her at things that she's doing marketing with. When her people are on the roof and that person was not referred to them by an insurance agent, they are looking at people's policies and they ask a question. Have you had anybody review your policy recently? And they're like, no, I haven't. I would suggest calling MVP Insurance because there's some things on your policy that are missing that will really help this claim go much better. You don't need a roof right now, but when you need one, you want to make sure you have a policy with MVP Insurance. Ta-da! It's free marketing. It's free I don't have to pay them for that. Of course, I refer them out, and they refer other insurance agents too. I'm not the only person. So I don't want you to be watching this going, Land doesn't refer me like that. They do. They do. We see more than one person. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what you guys do. So can you introduce yourself real quick? Because I like to know who's in the room.
Lori Ford, I do business development for Oklahoma's credit union, so I do a little bit of kind of broad spectrum marketing for everything in the wide range of like commercial lending type of leads. I do branding out in the community. I'm in Urban Land Institute. I do a lot of chamber events, just kind of all around.
So you're their connector, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So, but how
Outside the house.
you're your outside representative. So when you're talking about commercial lending, who's your target market?
You know, mainly it's people who have small businesses, local businesses in the community. It's $3 million and less as far as the size of property that we're aiming for. So there's a lot of builders that I'll connect with, that some are residential that do a little bit of small business, but then I also connect with some realtors and people who are involved with title agencies.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to use Lori's business as an example today because she showed up and I love her. In fact, our kids used to go to school together years ago. So I'm very excited she's here. So Oklahoma Credit Union?
Oklahoma is apostrophe S.
Okay, Oklahoma's Credit Union. Okay, so small local businesses, 3 million or less on property, builders, residential, and realtors, and then title companies.
And that's just part of it. We also do, you know, residential, but like that's a big part of it.
Right. Okay, so but if I was going to literally introduce you to people, I would want to make sure they're people who are probably locally owned businesses who are in the process of looking for property, which when you talk local and you talk small, that can mean 3 people in their office, 10 people in their office, 50 people in their office. Those are 3 different people. So I would ask more questions to be like, okay, they need to probably have been in business for 3 years or more, I'm assuming, yes. And when they're looking for property, they may want a retail space. So there might be something where they have to have foot traffic, or is this a situation where they might be like a central location for a larger company? What's the benefit?
This is usually where they not, if it's a retail space, then they are building that space. You know, like say there's an insurance agent down south where he actually built a small strip shopping center that has 3 occupants and he's one of the occupants.
Right, perfect.
So something like that.
Great
or
example.
someone a dentist that's building a brand new place or refinancing his own.
Okay, so that's even more detailed. So we're talking medical, because that would be an amazing situation if I could get you involved in an association where people who deal with doctors, or maybe even an association where, like the dental association or the dental college at OU, where these are people who are going to come out of school and need a place to put their business. So that might be a smart connection for you, right? So, but do those people go to the chamber?
Not usually.
Not
They're
usually.
busy.
No, they don't. They don't. So everything has to do with your target market and where you are going to spend your time. Now, I know Lori, she's everywhere because she's amazing and she can do so many great things. But, yeah, she's really good at what she does. But there's probably a better space for her to put that time in versus your mainstream chambers for what she's doing. It depends which chamber. So, for example, Edmond Chamber is going to be upper management, VPs, larger corporations. Oklahoma City seems to be more sales driven. Like there's a lot of people who are in sales, and you're going to see your under 40s there more. Whereas like the Northwest Chamber is all business owners. And they're probably the yes man themselves because they wear 3 hats. So depending on what her target might be is where she's going to want to spend her time. So when you are thinking about your connections and where you're going to network, everybody's coming out of COVID right now going, now what? What do I do now? Well, first thing you need to do is get online. If you are not involved with some online networking events, that's a place to start. So the BBB does, and a virtual,
We haven't.
you haven't
We
done,
got a relaunch, yeah, we have in the past.
yeah, no, you've done virtual happy hours, haven't you?
They're back in person now.
Oh, yes, we're doing it in person now. Sorry, didn't mean to mess that up. At one time, there was virtual events with the BBB, but there are a lot of hybrid. This morning, I was at Toastmasters at 6:30 this morning at Integris, and we had half the people online, half the people in person. So look and see what's going on. Go on Eventbrite or on meetup.com or Facebook events and see where people are hanging out. Okay? Now you might want to make a hit list of who it is you need to see. So in Lori's case, she knows she's looking for a certain business owner that's been in business for a minute, because when you're getting finance, they do new ventures. I'm sure they work with people like that, but it's harder to get financing when you don't have a history. So although in COVID, a lot of brand new businesses started, didn't they? A lot of people were like, I got laid off because of COVID. I'm going to take control of my future, and they started businesses. So we're seeing a lot of people starting trucking companies and starting IT support and starting financial planning. A lot of people are switching from oil field into the industry of insurance. So you might want to look into some of that. But when you're looking at where you're going to spend your time, I want you to think about how you're going to vet these places. First thing you need to do is make a hit list. And a hit list is your targeted person. So first you do an avatar. So let's pretend. Let's not pretend. I guess we can use Taylor. We'll use Taylor. Let's do this. Okay. I love the sticky note things. So Taylor,
Yeah.
tell everybody what you do.
Yeah, so I'm with Holston Tax, and I'm, like Lori, a connector for the company. I am also in charge of our in and outbound referrals. So I am typically meeting with bankers, CPAs, bookkeepers, and other attorneys.
CPA, bankers, other attorney,
Bookkeepers and attorneys, and
bookkeepers,
financial advisors.
and attorneys. Okay. Okay, so she has a very specific targeted market with CPAs, bankers, bookkeepers, attorneys. I see financing. I see a lot of people doing finance in that. Okay, so if you had to pick one of these four that's your best referral partner, which one do you think it would be?
CPA.
CPAs. Okay, so I know a little bit too much about Taylor already. So we're gonna play like I don't. Okay, so CPAs. Okay, so CPAs most CPAs are single owned, one or two in their office. They don't get out very often, do they?
No, not typically.
Not typically. So, but they have people who refer to them. Who refers to CPAs?
Financial advisors, bankers. What I
Okay.
hear a lot of, attorneys, especially estate planning.
Okay, or business owners.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if we're gonna put her in a room, then all of these people, if they've been doing business for any amount of time, don't do their own taxes. I don't do my own taxes. In the name of Jesus and all things holy, I do not do my own taxes. I don't even balance my checkbook, honestly. My husband does all that. Thank you, Jesus, for that too. So if that's the case, then we're gonna find a room where she can meet people who are working in the finance industry that are not CPAs, because they're not gonna be there, right? So what I would do is one of three things. The best thing to do, if you can, other than going to another person's event or going to an association, is to create the room. Which, like I said, I know a little too much. She created the room. She's smart. Y'all, if y'all don't know her, you hook up. And I don't mean hook up like that, but I mean hook up with her business-wise. She's got a very sexy business. Anyway, so if that's the case, she created a room for accountants, finance, I can't even say it.
Advisors.
Okay, so it's AFWA, is
Oh,
that
okay.
correct?
Yes, so there's a women in finance group, targeted toward women in finance, basically.
Okay, so I went to an event the other day at the Oklahoma City Golf and Country Club. They do it once a month or quarter?
It's a new event, so we just had our first one. We're looking at doing it bi-monthly.
Bi-monthly. Okay, so bi-monthly, you could be at the Oklahoma City Golf and Country Club, and you will meet people who work in accounting, in personnel, in bookkeeping, in financial planning. In that room was about 30 women. You think about 30?
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know but 2 people in the entire room. It was huge for me. So I'm just going to talk about myself a little bit here. I know some people. So when I can be in a room where I don't know at least half of the room, that's a much better room for me. Okay, so, but in this case, I would put Lori in that room because there are people who serve business owners, which is part of your target market. People who will be looking and scaling and doing some things. So some of the women I met there work with really large corporations, and they do their books, they do their hiring, they are thought leaders, and they're coming alongside business owners, helping them build a business. Now that's a better room for you to be in if that's your target market, don't you think? So if you can try and create the room, even better. But if you can't create the room, how do you vet the room? Let's look, it's on your handout. Cheating, anyway. So you need to I always tell people that you have to have at least 3 of these 5 in order for you to be in the room. Once you start creating partnerships, you really need to have all 5. So I don't go in a room anymore unless I have the 5, really. Because at the point I'm in my business, I don't have time to network as much as I used to. Because I'm bringing in 100 referrals a month. So somebody's got to service those accounts. So, all right, so number 1, revenue needs to be trackable. Do you know where your money's coming from? What have you been doing that works? So Mindy, you own a company. You're like I call her a wife. You can hire a wife, people. She's amazing. It's called the Honeydew Checklist. Okay, and what you do is anything somebody wants to pay you for to help make their life easier. So you might do laundry, you might do bookkeeping, you might do run and get groceries. So how do you get referrals now?
All my referrals are from people I've done business with.
Okay, so talk louder so they can hear you.
All my clients are referrals from either other businesses I've assisted or people I know. It's all referral based.
Okay, so do you have an avatar for those referral partners yet?
What do you mean by that?
Okay, what I mean by avatar, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked. Okay, so when I started looking at who I'm getting referrals from and where my revenue is coming from, I had a really surprising referral partner that I didn't expect. You would think as an insurance agent, lenders, realtors, home builders, security company, not on the list. Not on the list. But I had gotten 10 referrals one month from a home security company. And I was like, wait, I need to pay attention to that. Where did that come from? Okay, if you're not tracking it, then you don't know. It's all happenstance. You're like, oh, I think we got something from somebody. I'm not really sure. Oh, she's so sweet. I just love her. I get a lot of business from her. Do you? Do you? Like, go and check. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Because a lot of people don't know where their revenue or their referrals come from. That's the next one. You have to track your referrals. So we have an intake form at our agency. And the first question on is, how'd you hear about us? It's a simple question, but it changes your life completely. Because you're going to start hearing the same name over and over and over again. Now here's the thing. We're all about serving first. If I've heard your name 3 times this week, you're getting a phone call. I'm going to check you out online, see where you're hanging out. I'm going to ask you the question, who is it that you need to know? And I'm going to bird dog them for you to help you get your hit list. Because when you give to me, I'm going to give back. And I'm going to give back hard. I'm going to help you build your business. And I'd rather do that than go to a happy hour where I'm not really benefiting anyone, but just being there, but getting to know people on a casual level but not really serious business owners necessarily. I'm not saying Taylor's happy hour's that way, but I'm saying other people's happy hours might be that way. Because she does a happy hour too. So, all right, resource. The next one is resource. You are the resource through educational opportunity, or you have a center of influence that you want to support, continued education classes, or resource networking events. So, Lori, do you do any classes for companies?
Yes, financial type of classes like how to reduce your credit or how to improve your credit score, things about budgeting and, different types of identity theft for,
Okay.
personal finances.
Personal finances? Okay, so if you're doing those classes, where are you holding them?
Usually at businesses, like the HR industry is a
Uh-huh.
huge place where I get my leads. So I have a large contact base of
Sweet.
HR people,
Uh-huh.
so that then we can go in and talk to their employees at different types of trainings
Mm-hmm.
and different types of like new employee orientations.
That's
And
great.
then to do, a free lunch where we'll come in and do a seminar. Because
Okay.
that's a part of employee financial wellness.
Oh, employee financial wellness. That's a buzzword, guys. Write that one down. Employee financial wellness. It is a good word, and you probably need to come do one at my office because I would love some financial wellness. Apparently, I don't do my checkbook, so I probably need her. All right, so if you can be in the front of the room today, I'm in the front of the room. And so I'm here to serve the people here and help them make those connections and help them understand where are you spending your time. This is a great space for me to be in because then I can help make connections for you. And after this event, I would love to sit down and talk to you and see if we can do business together. And let's just be honest, not everybody's the best fit, right? Just because I know you doesn't mean that I need to do business with you. But I might know somebody you need to know. And I can do what I call bless and release. So I can say, okay, Mindy, apparently I'm really good at cleaning my house and balancing my budget, so I don't necessarily need you. But I know 3 owners of businesses who show up to work in dirty clothes. I need to connect them with you because that's a need. So one of the things you need to do is make sure you're communicating what you do well with your partners so that way they can help make those connections. And if it's a resource event and you're like, how do I get into education events? Call Casey. Casey's a great resource for that with the BBB. They will come and partner with you to create some of those events. You might be the next Trust Talk speaker. You never know. So, relationship is the next one. You need to be able to create relationship through consistent touches. Example, 1 time a month, 1 time a week. And it doesn't mean I'm in your face. It might be a thank you card. Okay, everybody do this for me. Come on, show me your L. Okay, likings for losers, commentings for winners. On social media, last year we learned that virtual reality is a real reality that we have to be a part of. On social media, if you are commenting, I see you. If you are liking, I don't. So if you're somebody who wants to create a relationship with me, you need to be commenting on my posts. If I want to create a relationship with you, I need to be commenting on your posts. Now, I'm not going to comment, fake, speak, or just agree with everything you say. But I think about what I want to say. I don't just put, hey girl, hey, on everything. I might, but you never know. But you need to actually be in a relationship online sometimes with people before you can get offline and have a real relationship. The other thing I tell people is you really want to know a business, give them a review on Google. If there's somebody you want to do business with, there's a reason. Why? Because they're amazing. So you might go online and be like, Oklahoma's credit union, Lori Ford's amazing. I see her at a lot of events, they're really connected. You should reach out. Set them up as an influencer. Help them become influencers. Here's something that's really gonna rock your boat. Community over competition. If you are somebody who is another insurance agent, I will help you build your business. You're gonna serve who you serve. I have a group of women agency owners, and there's men agency owners. There's a group for a lot of different groups. This particular one is women insurance agency owners, and they're all over the nation. So one time, one of the girls got on there and she freaked out because she had a bad review. I said, well, I'll go review you. And everybody's like, me too, me too, me too. She got like 20 reviews in the next month. that totally wiped out that bad review. And she's somebody we know, so we talk to her. It's not like we're over there going, oh my God, I need to use them. No, I mean, I literally put something like, great community influencer, really loves to help other women in business. Check her out. It doesn't have to be fake, but definitely engage somewhere on social media. And the other part is handwritten notes. Oh my gosh, how many of you like to get a handwritten note that has a stamp and a handwritten address on it? Oh my gosh, thank you cards are my favorite. So I have an entire little board that has the ribbon across it that has a ton of thank you cards that I've gotten over the years. I don't want to throw them out. They're precious to me. If I ever have a bad day, I go read a thank you card and it makes me feel better. It's like, wow, I do make a difference. I'm not a loser. It's amazing. And you can be that for somebody else. So, responsibility. This is a big deal. Where you spend your time needs to demonstrate your willingness to be a servant leader. Do you know what a servant leader is? It's not about me. That's really what a servant leader is. I have a hair on my face all of a sudden. That's weird. Anyway, it's going to stay there apparently. So, if you're a servant leader, you show up early. You stay late. You clean off the tables. You hand out the cards. You help hand out the supplies. Whatever it is. You show up early, you stay late, and you serve in any capacity as needed for that event to be successful. Okay? My name doesn't have to be on the board for me to serve here. My job is to come in and partner with Casey and Kit and help them to do great things in the BBB. It's not about MVP when I'm here. It's about the BBB. And how do I help them find their target person and help them build the BBB? Because guess what happens when they do that? I get more great people that I get to network with that I can be an influence for, right? So don't make it about you. Make it about them. Be on a committee or share the event on social media. Hello. Share it. Sharing is caring. That's real. It can also be a way to show up for your partners. So if I am going to choose between a chamber event and something that Land Roofing is doing, I'll probably choose Land Roofing because they're one of my number ones. So you're gonna have number ones who are your ambassadors or your apostles. Then you'll have number twos and number threes, cheerleaders and ambassadors. They're important, but I'd rather help Kirsten build her business than to show up and meet a bunch of people who are not my target necessarily. Does that make sense? Okay. You will get referrals from people you know, like, and trust. So you need to be somebody they know and they like and they trust. So how do you do that? By showing up. Because I may know you and I may even like you, but I don't trust you. That's just real. And I had a guy one time who he wanted another insurance agent to open up their book and let him just cold call everybody in his book. How many of you would allow that to happen? Anyone? Just because of HIPAA laws, number one, probably. And number two, he didn't trust him. That person was very salesy. So they asked me to have the hard conversation because I'm kind of known for being able to have difficult conversations with people that just don't get it. And I can do it in a way that's very nice. It's a superpower of mine. So I can help them through it, but he came and sat and told me how he should be able to do this because they're in referral group together. I said, but he knows you and he likes you, but he doesn't trust you. And he goes, that hurts my feelings. And I said, and that's okay, I'll help you through that.
Can you show us another example for one of our online attendees?
Yes, please, ask questions.
So Robert, I'm gonna pick on you, and because I'd love for Joan to kind of break down, it's kind of similar to what she did for Mindy and Taylor. And mind you, I cannot hear you, so any question I ask, you can pop that in and ask it. Because I don't typically get to meet people in the architecture industry, and so I would really like to hear how Joan.
Okay, his name is Andrew?
Robert.
Robert. Hello,
And-
Robert.
Hello, Robert. Glad to see you today. With Spur Design, Architecture, Engineering, and Interior Design. So, Robert, who do you typically look to network with? Let me ask that, right?
Right? So I'm assuming certain things when you say architectural design company. So you're looking at people who are scaling in their business because they have money to pay you. That's not a cheap thing to do. To buy furniture is very expensive. So they probably are in business for a minute. Chances are they're very highly driven people because they want to farm this out. Because you come to my house, I'm like, oh, no, I got to pick out all the stuff. Or there's somebody who's a control freak and you have to work alongside them because I don't have time, but I want to know all the colors and everything that's going in my design space. So, or I think I'm Joanna Gaines, one or the other. Anyway, so what is he saying? Who's the target?
So he's typing out, looks like.
Okay.
I wish I could hear you, but good to see you anyway.
Yeah. So architectural firms typically work with people who are very smart. They usually have a lot of engineering background, which is a very specific personality as well. Not to be critical, but certain people are really smart, and there's usually boundaries within that. They don't do a lot of networking unless they're required to if they work for someone else. So that's how they build their business. They're probably going to be talking to high worth, high net value owners as well.
So we do most of our work for VA hospitals across the US.
Okay.
We have architects and engineers, which is a combination that is unique.
Okay. So VA hospitals. So his target market is people in the government, probably, I'm assuming. Yes?
He's nodding.
Yes? Okay. So certain associations are better for you if, first of all, the state chamber. If you're not a member of the state chamber, you need to be. That's where all the thought leaders in government are. And they do several events a year. One of them is a legislative update. So, and in that room is typically a lot of your representatives, but then a lot of people who are in their thought circles.
So he's a member of the state chamber.
Okay.
He said our biggest target market are hospital facility administrators.
Ah, okay. Okay. So, did you know that there is an association of association executives in Oklahoma?
Did you know that, Robert?
So in that association of association executives is the executive who's in charge of the medical association, the nursing association, the HR associations, all of those associations all get together and talk about how do you grow your membership, fundraising, those types of things. That would be a room I'd put you in to help you make connections. And then I'd also find out the questions I would ask when I'm there is what's probably going to help you get to the right person. So you're going to walk in the room, and this is what's going to happen. You're going to see an anchor. An anchor is a person who works the room, knows everybody, probably Casey in this case. I'm an anchor today because I'm in the front. They're probably real bubbly, real fun. So you'll look around, you probably see somebody in a real bright colored outfit or something, and you walk up to that person and you say this. So we're going to say, Lori's my anchor. Hi, Lori. So I'm like, excuse me, my name is Joan Curtis, and I'm new here, which is trigger for fresh meat. People get super excited.
Yeah.
Connectors love fresh meat. They're like, oh my gosh, who can I introduce you to? And they love knowing people and they love being in there. So you say, I'm new here, and I'd really like to meet people who are involved with hospitals, hospital administration, medical, or they might work with some sort of a 501c3 that's supportive of something, okay? So, because those people are in those groups as well. So people who do like cancer research and things like that, they're gonna be the people who know the people you need to know, right? Because you have a very specific target, which means chamber's probably not your fit. And not to say anything bad about the chamber. The chamber's great for certain things.
That's great.
That's not what I'm saying at all. But for you, I would put you in fundraiser rooms, any galas that have anything to do with any specific disease or disorder, or a board for one of those types of groups that deals with a lot of doctors who specialize in those diseases and disorders, or are on the boards for hospitals. That's probably where I'd put you, and it's going to be an affiliate membership for you, which is usually less than being a member, okay? But when you get there, you're going to find out who you need to know, whether it's a good fit. You really sit back and go, okay, is this the best fit for me where I'm spending my time? Because with your specific price point, it's going to take you a year to probably really turn over one of those relationships and make them something that could create finances for you. That being said, you need to volunteer for something, whether it's an ambassador, whether it's a committee, something like that. And I'd probably do something with finances, like if you can be like with the fundraising people, because they know they know your people. They're the ones who are gonna get you in front of your people. Does that help you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Can
Okay.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes, Lori has a suggestion. She needs your phone number, by the way, because I think you guys have something in common. She can help you get that stuff built.
Hi, Robert. So yes, I am an anchor, and just the nature of VA, that it would be very helpful if you connected with some of the associations that have to do with people who've been disabled due to being a veteran. And so Folds of Honor, Major Ed Pulido, I think is his last name.
Pulido.
He runs the local charity called Folds of Honor. There's also another one that's like Warriors for Wounded Warriors.
Wounded Warriors Project, and then there's
Yeah.
also one about boots too. There's one about like the Boots Project or
Right,
something.
so that those entities, many times you're gonna have people that have been disabled or long-term type of care
Mhm.
for those people. So if someone in VA is maybe the facilities manager and that maybe he is actually a veteran, he will notice something like that whenever you say, oh yes, we were a sponsor at the, Folds of Honor banquet last year or something like that. That
Mhm.
will mean a lot whenever they see that you are sponsoring and devoted to VA related type of
Right,
activities.
and the other part of that too, I'm thinking of, is that there's not like 5 VA hospitals in Oklahoma City. Like, so you probably have a national reach, so you're gonna wanna deal with some local here, but then also some national associations as well, because there's gonna be chapters and chapter presidents. There may be like, they may have a convention or something where you'd wanna go. The first year, I wouldn't buy a booth, I'd just go and just see what it is and find out who the other vendors are who are there and make the connections with the people who are gonna help serve alongside you and help them get their mission accomplished. Does that make sense? Yeah? That was a really great suggestion. And Lori also is a cancer survivor.
Sure.
And she's amazing, and she raises money and helps people raise money for cancer, not to have cancer, but to solve the problem of cancer. Yeah, to cure for cancer. So she's also somebody who's probably very involved and might be a really good fit. So maybe if we can get some information and we can maybe help you guys connect, and maybe you guys can serve the same community. Does that make sense?
I would say probably even more than like being involved with like cancer as a whole, because in those entities, I don't really see anyone coming from VA.
Right,
But if maybe being involved with the Innovation District,
right.
just the locale of
Yeah.
that, there might be more connectors there.
Right. Well, and like I said, she's an anchor, so she knows people in the community. It may not be a situation where, she's gonna open her wallet and build a building, but she's gonna know the right people to connect you with and maybe help you get in the right rooms, if that makes sense. So does that help?
We are a service disabled veteran owned small business. That is helpful. Thank you.
Yay! Well, I am the daughter of 2 veterans, so yay you. I love helping people. I actually have 7 family members that were in the service at some point in time. So I was not somebody who could probably survive boot camp. I'm a pretty princess. So, but I love supporting veteran causes and things like that. So I'm grateful for you being here, for you helping that community. That's an amazing thing. All right. Well, let's look about where you're spending your time. Once you figure out who your target market is, and do we kind of have a kind of an understanding of that? I want to make sure that I'm not just like bowling over that. Okay, so now we know who Robert is and what he needs to do. Now we need to decide what room he's going to be in and where he's going to spend his time and how much time he actually is going to do that. So the second part of your handout actually is a little chart. Okay, and what this is for is to help you be reasonable about where you're spending your time. So in Lori and Taylor's space, their job is to be the face of their company outside of the office. So they may do a lot more networking events than you do because you're holding many hats. So if that's the case, you need to make sure you understand that you need to go on your calendar and you need to put on your calendar, I've got this backwards, networking, and follow up. Okay, so office time, so you maybe need to send out newsletters, you might need to be sending out donation letters, You may need to balance your checkbook, like whatever it is that you need to do that's part of your organization that helps keep the doors open. So in my case, I get a quote, somebody has to quote it, has to go into the system, present it, sell it, do the service end of it. So that's what I'm gonna put on my calendar as my office time. Okay, and you're gonna color code this. And the reason I say color code it is because, one, I think colors are pretty, and two, because you're gonna be able to see at a glance how off balance you might be. Okay? So personal time. I always tell people personal time is your number one. In my life, I am married to Todd Curtis. He's a retired firefighter from Edmond. We've been married 25 years this October. And I plan on staying married to Todd Curtis, the firefighter retired from Edmond. So I have to put him on my calendar. Because if I don't, I will accept engagements to go do other things and not make my family a priority. And everybody always says it. What do they always say? God, family, and then my job. Okay, but does it show up on your calendar? Do you actually have that family time set aside? So for me, Saturday mornings, my kids sleep till noon, like everybody else's kids. So my husband and I go to breakfast on Saturday mornings. We go garage sailing. We do stuff that we enjoy doing together, and that's our set apart time. Okay? But it has to be on your calendar first, or guess what happens? Casey really needs me. She needs me at the BBB Big Blue Bash. And I know it's my son's choir thing, but now I have to choose. If it was on my calendar, I would have had to tell her, oh, I'm so sorry. I have another engagement that night. It's kind of important. And she would have been like, yeah, no problem, no big deal. All right? So, and then your follow-up time. Okay? If you're out networking, you're out talking to people, have you followed up with any of those people? How many of you go networking, get cards, and then stare at a stack of cards and like, what am I supposed to do with this? I have this stack of cards. Okay, so one of the things I do is when I go to an event, how many people do you meet at an event? Give me a number. 40. Wow, she gets around. Okay, Mindy is talking to everybody. Okay, so Mindy's meeting 40, but we're gonna wingman Mindy so she doesn't do that this time. Okay, so Mindy, her person is a busy business owner. That's who she wants to talk to. And most likely they're the Northwest Chamber is where I'd put you, or the Yukon Chamber, or the Tuttle Chamber, one of those types of chambers. And I will tell you this, notice something. This is something people don't realize. The Turnpike, where are all the best chambers? Right along the Turnpike. Like, right? They're right there. That's crazy, but that's where people are. And they attend because it's close to home. So we're gonna go to the Northwest Chamber with you. And I know your target market is small business owners. So, but specifically tonight, we're gonna talk to busy realtors, okay? Because the market last year was insane, right? So I'm gonna set you up with Alexis, because her target is business owners as well. So I'm gonna put you guys at the bar with your virgin daiquiris, because we're not gonna promote anything crazy. So they're gonna be there with their little umbrella drink, and then I'm gonna go over and I'm gonna meet Taylor, who happens to own an accounting firm, or she's a realtor. That's what we want. We want a realtor. So I go to Taylor and I'm like, hey Taylor, I'm like, oh, it's so good to meet you. How's it going? And she's like, oh my God, it's so good to meet you too. And I'm like, what do you do? And she's like, I'm a real estate professional. I'm like, really? Tell me about that. Has it been a crazy year? She's like, yes. Oh, I'm like, have 100 houses I'm selling this year. I'm like, wow, you sound really busy. Have you met my friend Mindy? And she's like, Mindy, no, I haven't met Mindy at all. And I'm like, wow, you need to meet her. She's an influencer. So I'm setting her up. Think of business like dating. You have a sexy business, she has a sexy business. I'm sure the two of you would be a great fit. So I'm a matchmaker. So I'm gonna have Taylor come over and meet Mindy. And I'm gonna say, Mindy, come meet me. So she comes over to meet my friend. And I'm like, hey, Mindy, this is Taylor. You guys would be great referral partners. I literally say that exact thing. I don't say, wow, you guys should know each other. Guys, don't color code it. Just be like, hey, I think you guys would be great in business together. Because people want to cut to the chase. We don't want fluffy. We want to know people who are going to be a good fit, right? And isn't it easier if I just set you up for the win? Because you don't want to what? Talk about yourself. You don't want to talk about you at all. Oh, who wants to talk about themselves? Okay, maybe I do, but most people don't. So if that's the case, I'm going to set you up. But I'm like, Mindy, oh my gosh, you need to meet Taylor because she's a very busy business owner. And Taylor, you need to meet Mindy because she works with busy business owners, helping them solve problems. And then Taylor's going to go, how do you do that? And I'm like, you guys talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. Then I go find 2 more people because your goal is 3. Your goal is 3. If you do 2 to 3 events a week, that's 10 follow-up appointments that you need to have on your calendar. Now, statistically, 3 won't call you back. Okay, so you have 7 to work with. Half of those will show up. That's 4 to 5 appointments a week that are potentially your target market. Isn't that a better use of your time? Are they saying yes? Yeah, good. I know Enrique is. Enrique's my man. Hey, me and Enrique. Sanders IT, hey. So, but when you go to an event, your goal is to meet 3. 3 of your target. Once you've met your 3, then you go over to Lori and you go, hey, Lori, we're going to get your 3. So then she stands by the bar and you go meet the other 3 people. Now here's what you're doing. When you're talking to people, you're getting business cards. So when you meet somebody who's interesting, you tab their card. Now when you go home with your 40 business cards, because Mindy has a lot, you're going to pick out the ones. You're going to pick out the ones that have the tab on it, and you'll remember something about them. You'll remember how special they are because their face is on it. God help you if you don't put your business card, your face on your business card. But you'll know something about that business. They were important enough to tab their card. So when you're doing your follow-up, who are you going to follow up with first? Your tabs. Isn't that cool? God, it's so smart. Does this help you guys? Does it? What is the problem that it solves for you today? I need feedback. I'm needy. Give me feedback.
That tab tip is brilliant.
Yeah.
I think so too.
You put a stack of business cards, and I do follow up and kind of look through them after events and try to reach out, but I would get to my target so much quicker if I tabbed it.
Yeah, that's huge. That
I
is a
write
huge thing.
all over my business cards.
Do you?
I'm sorry for everyone who gets offended. I write notes, I write on there exactly what I promised to that person.
That's
what
smart.
I'm gonna send to them. And I'm like, okay, now who is it that you said I need to talk to at your business? And I write that down on that business card because a tab isn't gonna do it for me because I have
Right.
40 tabs, right, or however many.
Right.
So I write, I was at an employee job fair or 2 of them last week. And so I was helping to recruit new employees for Oklahoma's credit union, but I was also going booth to booth to go meet the HR people.
Yes.
Because that was a golden place for me.
Yes.
So I'm going through and handing out some brochures to them and then picking up some of those business
Right.
cards and I'm writing down that information.
So,
it's very helpful.
and I'm glad she said that because Lori's at a different level than most people are.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that to be like she's so special, but she is. She's a pretty princess. No, but in what she does, that's very specific. Yeah, you're my age. So I told her, I said, I think I'm the oldest person in this building right now, but that's okay. I'm fabulous. Okay, I just tell myself that when I take my multivitamin. Anyway, so in her business specifically, her CRM is her life. Like she takes notes on every single person she meets. In most cases, a small business owner, you don't have to be at that level necessarily. But if you have a business card, the back needs to be blank because somebody has to write notes on something. Is the back of your card blank? Or is it all a bunch of stuff and they have no place to write your cards? The other thing is don't get the slick ones, get the matte finish because it's really hard to write on those waxy covered ones. Really hard. So if that's how you do business, then you want to make sure to be able to make that something somebody else can use.
Or if it's a real problem about, if you feel driven that you've got to give more information and that I can't have that blank business card, right?
Mhm.
Then go ahead and produce little postcards.
Yeah.
So that you can take those, so that if it's gonna be a little bit bigger, out of place, where everyone else is getting, business cards, then go ahead and get a postcard and say, oh, I have something else for you because you're really suited for what I'm talking about.
Well, and the other thing is that never go anywhere by yourself. Okay, when you walk into an event, Casey knows I'm gonna wingman her. And so I'm gonna find her the people she needs to know in the next 10 minutes. And she has the rest of the night to enjoy herself. And then when I'm over there talking to her, people think we're having a conversation. I'm like, hold on just a second, I'm taking some notes. She's like, oh girl, go ahead. I don't have to explain myself to her. We do life together. If you're in a situation with partnerships where you have real referral partnerships, you're doing life with people, you can call Kirsten Land, like I do, and go, hey girl, I need one of my producers to go out with one of your salespeople to meet some people. She's like, okay, we're doing these 3 events. I'm like, see ya. That's the extent of the conversation. And we move business forward. Because I don't have to buy her cookies. She didn't have to buy me cookies. I don't want cookies. I do want cookies, but I don't want cookies today. I want to be able to help my people be successful. I have 12 people that work for me that have to feed their kids. I take that very seriously. Food is very important. So I want to make sure they can make sure to make those right connections. So I'm going to vet the room. I'm going to go in the room. I'm going to help them make those connections. Does that make sense? And if you don't have my personality, that's okay. You don't have to. If you're an introvert, call Casey. Casey would love to hook us up or go with you or find that person who's your opposite personality and they can wingman you and help you make those connections. There's no reason for you not to be talking to the right people. Networking is to make money. So if you're a volunteer, let's make sure being a volunteer counts and that you can actually afford to be a volunteer because you can pay your bills. Does that make sense? Any other questions? Anybody else? I think we're about done. Yes?
Oh my goodness.
I'll add a tip.
Oh, give me a tip.
That if you walk up to someone, at some type of networking event, and you can, you don't really kind of connect on different things. You've already talked about, kind of your sphere, and maybe you've already pointed to some different places or different people that you can connect them to. Then just go aside from that and say, what else are you attending this week? Because chances are their calendar is full of events, and so they were, are going to
They're your
be doing
target
things.
person.
They're like, hey, this is a great event, and it's cool to meet you here. What else are you doing?
And I always say that's your second day conversation with the people who are your target. If I'm having coffee with you, we're not talking about my company, we're talking about you. But then I'm going to ask you the question, who do you know? Who can I help you connect with? That's going to tell me whether you're a good fit for my company or not. If you're like, everybody, I'm like, wow, that's awesome. And then I'm going to help instruct you a little bit because you're the kid in high school who just wanted a girlfriend. And I don't want that in my life. I don't need that guy in my life. I want somebody who's dedicated and who's loyal. So those conversations can sometimes be your second date. And where she's at in her business with what she does and the level she's at, she has established relationships with great people. And when she's doing that networking, she's probably already helping make those connections. So, but if that's not you, let us know and we'd be happy to help. We're excited. Thank you so much for having me and definitely excited to be here.